Ladies and gentlemen, it is November 16th, 2018, and this is episode 1 of a Mix of Both podcast. I appreciate you tuning in. Since this is the first episode, I am going to kind of explain what's going to happen here. This podcast is going to be centered around the NFL and college football. I'll have a little sprinkle of boxing, MMA, NBA, whatever else catches my interest. One disclaimer is I have never done anything like this, so please stick with me, and if you keep tuning in, the quality of me and the setup will improve over time. I've never done anything like this before, so we'll kind of just see how it goes. The plan I have in mind right now is I will talk about 2 or 3 different topics relating to the sports I previously mentioned: NBA, college football, NFL, combat sports, whatever really. The first 2 will be most likely the NFL, and the last one will be a fun little part. So yeah, I appreciate you guys being here, and we're going to get started here. Let's talk about Aaron Rodgers. Oh boy, what does that mean? Well, last night he threw his 30th touchdown to a different receiver. Wow. That's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive if you've never played football before. There's one guy that I know of that's thrown to 71 different receivers. He also has 5 Super Bowl rings. That'd be Tom Brady. Oh, Aaron. Aaron Rodgers has a 10-7 postseason record. 10-7. He's been in the NFC title game one time outside of the Super Bowl year since 2010. That's 8 years. One time. I guess it'd be 7 because this would be year 8. But one time. And he lost. Aaron Rodgers would be 9-8 in the playoffs if the catch rule then is what it was now. It'd be 9-8. It's almost 500. There's one quarterback that has a very similar record to that. A lot of people don't think he's very good. Joe Flacco. The problem with Joe Flacco is not only does he have to deal with Tom Brady, but Peyton Manning, Big Ben, Phillip. Real competition. But wait, Jason. Wait. Aaron has no help. Right. It seems like anytime Aaron Rodgers doesn't win a game, there's excuses for him. But wait. He has Jimmy Graham. Devontae Adams, one of the best young receivers in football right now. He's had Clay Matthews the whole time he's been in the league. They drafted all corners for that defense. But there's no chance that Aaron missed a pass in the flats on 3rd and 2. Yeah, he was only a couple feet short of the receiver. That was wide open. Aaron Rodgers. And McCarthy's not the problem either. Aaron likes to hold on to the ball too long. He refuses to throw to receivers he doesn't like. So, I don't know. We'll leave Aaron alone for now, but I'm sure we'll get back to him later in later weeks, especially if he misses the playoffs. That'd be funny. And if we haven't gotten it yet, I do think Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time. But we'll get into that later. The next thing I will talk about is Le'Veon Bell. I have Le'Veon Bell on my fantasy team. I'm still doing way better than I thought. However, on Tuesday, he officially lost $14 million. $14 million. Now, that's a lot for a lot of people. Like, most people that ever listen to this will never make $14 million. No offense to anybody listening, but $14 million is a lot of money. I don't know. It's hard for us to say if he made the right choice or not. However, I think the franchise tag is the real issue here that we should discuss. So, currently, the franchise tag is based off the average of the top 5 salaries at that position. So, year 1, so last year in 2017, Le'Veon was franchise tagged for $12 million. In year 2, it goes up 120% of the first franchise tag. So that put Bell at $14 million. Next year, he'd probably be transition tagged, which means he'd get about $25 million. And they're not going to do that. There's no way Steelers are going to do that. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens with Le'Veon Bell, especially with James Conner actually playing pretty well. Granted, he's still not Le'Veon Bell, even though many people think he is, but they're nuts. How I think the franchise tag should work, in order to allow players to get more guaranteed contracts and not play under the 1-year deal in case of injury, where they will pretty much be screwed if they get hurt. Similar to Moser to the 49ers a couple weeks ago, who was playing the best game of his life after being on 5 different teams in his young career. He gets tripped up and falls on his arm. It's broken. His career could be over. That quick. It wasn't even a big hit. He just fell on his arm. Out for the year. In relation to this, I want to talk about how much money the owners make. The revenues of the NFL last year in 2017 was $8.16 billion for a nonprofit organization. Number one, they shouldn't have a nonprofit designation, but they do. The players get 48.5% of the revenue, which, if we do some math, that is a little bit less than $4 billion of the 8.16. So that means the owners get over $4.2 billion divided by 32 minus the overhead costs, which there's no way we'll know what that is. Either way, they're making millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars for nothing. They don't do anything. Half of them you don't even know who they are. There's going to be a lockout in 2020 when the CBA is up. And I believe that the players should demand that they get 60% of the revenue, and that would result in the cap being increased. This would promote more guaranteed money, and they get more money for risking more than any other sport out there, other than maybe combat sports, because they're getting their head smashed in every time they fight. And part of this, when a player is franchise tagged under my system of the top 3 player averages, salaries, it would not affect the salary cap, but would be coming directly out of the team's pocket. Therefore, the owners would be very much less likely to do the franchise tag. Because if I'm an owner and I have to pay Le'Veon Bell $25 million out of my pocket, my GM better get that deal done. Better figure it out. Because I'm already giving him 60%. Better figure it out. Next topic I'd like to talk about is the Oakland Raiders. The Oakland Raiders. They might be worse or just as bad as when they had a guy named Jamarcus Russell. I saw Jamarcus Russell play. That guy was potentially the worst quarterback of all time. How he didn't throw more picks, we'll never know, because I'm pretty sure Nathan Peterman's has worse stats than Jamarcus Russell does. Jamarcus Russell couldn't even throw the ball 10 yards. Wow. Typical Oakland Raiders. But even more typical, they gave a guy from Monday Night Football a 10-year, $100 million contract. 10 years, $100 million. Clearly, they didn't learn anything from baseball. Nothing. As the Oakland Raiders stand right now, they're 1-8. You know who their one win was against? The Cleveland Browns, who didn't win a game for 2 years, and they only won by 3. Pathetic. John Gruden's supposed to be a quarterback guru. I mean, that's what ESPN had us led to believe. However, Derek Carr has 0 games over 300 yards that I could find. Maybe I'm wrong. But the offense is only scoring 16 points per game, 30th in the league. I know one of those teams that's lower than that. It might be higher than what I think it is, but it was 10 points a game the Buffalo Bills had. The Buffalo Bills. They didn't have a quarterback. The Raiders are barely scoring more than that a game. Pathetic. What have the Raiders done this year? Well, they have 8 sacks on defense, 3 fumbles, and 1 touchdown that I could find by Gary and Conley, an interception. These are terrible, terrible, terrible numbers. They had someone on their defense that was pretty good, but they decided to trade him away because they didn't want to pay him. That was Khalil Mack. He has 7 sacks by himself for the Chicago Bears. That's 1 less than the entire Raiders team. He has 4 forced fumbles. He has a touchdown. He almost beat Aaron Rodgers without camp. But we know how that goes. John Gruden said that they really liked a pass rush. So what do? They cut Bruce Irvin, probably their best pass rusher on the team. The Raiders are so dysfunctional that one of my favorite players, Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie, retired in the middle of the season. And there are rumors that players want out immediately. So that's something to really keep an eye on. The Raiders, 1-8. It's pathetic. As this is the first podcast, just gonna kind of go over a couple more things here before I end. The next podcast, I'll probably bring up the Deontay Wilder-Tyson Fury boxing match because I'm a huge boxing fan. Kind of analyze some of that. I saw that Tyson Fury was training with Freddie Roach the other day, which is a pretty big deal. Freddie Roach is one of the best trainers in boxing. Yeah. I really hope you guys enjoy this first podcast. It's been a lot more work than I anticipated. The next one, I'm going to put a lot more work and research into it to make sure I can deliver something great. I'm not doing this for money. I have no sponsors. It's just something I'm interested in doing. Originally, I was going to do a political podcast with one of my friends, but he lives in Washington State, so it makes it very complicated logistically to make that happen. So yeah, we're gonna start ending this here, and I really look forward to the feedback that you guys can give me. And stay tuned for episode 2.